They buried these photographs in archives, locked them away from public view. Today we reveal what they never wanted you to see. Subscribe to History Unveiled for history's hidden truth. Antietam, September 17, 1862. Confederate dead lie before Dunker Church. Soldiers and horse sprawled beside overturned caisson. America's bloodiest single day captured in stark reality. Bloody Lane, Antietam. Sunken road after battle. General D.H. Hill's Confederate troops endured relentless assaults and crossfire from multiple Union divisions, bodies filling the depression like cordwood. Buchenwald concentration camp, newly liberated. American soldiers view pile of corpses found behind crematorium. Industrial murders aftermath. Evidence of systematic extermination confronting liberators. Buchenwald, Germany. Oven where prisoners were burned, dead and alive. Crematorium converting human beings to ash. Nazi efficiency applied to genocide. Machinery of the Holocaust preserved as evidence. Comment 1 if you're still watching. Ebenseek concentration camp, Austria. Starved prisoners barely alive photographed after liberation by 80th Division. Subcamp of Mauthausen reportedly used for experiments. Skeletons with eyes that still saw freedom arrive. Morning after Zachariah Walker's lynching. Crowd gathered at the site. Racial terror as public gathering. Murder treated as community event. Chester County preserving photographic evidence of atrocity. French cruiser deck, 1915. Armenian refugees rescued during Ottoman Empire's systematic massacre. Genocide survivors crowding the ship that carried them from extermination. Faces marked by what they escaped. The Nazis would later study this genocide as blueprint. Przemysłowa Street, German-occupied Lodz. Camp for Polish children during occupation. Nazi overseer commanding imprisoned youth. Childhood itself criminalized. Germany erasing the next generation. Buchenwald, April 1945. Emaciated prisoners in barracks after Third Army liberation. Men reduced to bones stacked in wooden bunks. Living barely distinguishable from dead. Stalingrad winter, 1942 through 43. German soldiers frozen where they fell. Russian cold accomplishing what bullets could not. Bodies preserved in ice as eternal monuments to failed invasion. Walter H. Horn's triple execution series. 3 condemned prisoners hanged for allegedly stealing military supplies. Summary justice documented without mercy. War's absolute law made visible. Many veterans never spoke of what they witnessed. France, January 31st, 1939. Republican soldiers rest while defying Franco with communist salute. Exhausted men still raising fists in resistance. Spanish Civil War refugees carrying lost cause into exile. Tuol Sleng security prison, Cambodia. Mother holding baby photographed before Khmer Rouge execution between 1976 and 79. Torture center where this mother and child became genocide statistics. Over 17,000 died at S-21. Hiroshima survivor with nuclear burns. Pattern across skin matching kimono worn at moment of atomic flash. Fabric design permanently seared into flesh. The bomb's signature written on those who lived. War's wounds lasted far beyond battlefields. World War I. Lieutenant F.G. Adams, Hampshire Regiment, and Ralph Lumley, RFC, during medical recovery following wartime injuries. Facial wounds that modern surgery was just beginning to understand. Challenging rehabilitation many soldiers faced. Display of casts representing World War I soldiers' facial features after medical treatment. Historical record of era's reconstructive practices. Each mold preserving damage before repair. Impact of conflict on individual faces made visible. 1895. Woman affected by tuberculosis of the skin. Lupus vulgaris, causing skin changes. Medical condition documented in late 19th century. Before antibiotics, before treatment. Disease marked you permanently. Belfast District Lunatic Asylum, 1890 through 1900. Later repurposed as Belfast War Hospital during World War I. Facility adaptation to care for those affected by war. Buildings transformed by necessity of conflict. Henry C. Verns, Civil War veteran. G.R. George W. Perry Post, Scituate, Massachusetts. photographed in uniform with supportive aides. Veterans standing after service despite lost limb. Pride maintained through visible sacrifice. Did you have relatives who served in these wars? Richard Dunphy, former coal heaver, United States Navy, Civil War era. Photographed in civilian attire, carte de visite format. Post-war life preserved on paper. Working man turned sailor documented after service ended. Bridge Hospital, Nottingham, 1918. Sawyer Spence during medical care following chemical agent exposure in World War I. Treatment of service-related conditions. Chemical warfare's aftermath requiring specialized intervention. Quang Nai Province, Vietnam, around 1967. Young boy receiving hospital assistance. Conflict's effects on civilians, particularly children. War creating casualties among those who never held weapons. St. John's College United States General Hospital, Annapolis, Maryland. Private Philip Haddle, Company I. 31st Pennsylvania Volunteers. Admitted June 1865 after prisoner of war captivity. Passed away shortly after from conditions experienced in confinement. Civil War prison camps caused significant hardships. Poor sanitation, malnutrition, illness killing thousands. What happened next at Ravensbrück became evidence of Nazi medical experiments. Ravensbrück concentration camp. Polish political prisoner photographed during period of extreme hardship under Nazi administration. Evidence of severe conditions endured by those held captive. Documentation of suffering that became war crimes testimony. Beyond tragedy, ordinary life persisted against odds. Ballard, Seattle. Drugstore and barbershop at 32nd Avenue and 64th Street. Carl Henry Mohn photographed daily life here. Born 1892 to Norwegian immigrants. Former sailor who crossed Pacific over 200 times before taking up photography in 1909. Hotel de Gink, Bowery, New York City. Barbershop for hobos and itinerant workers at Center and Worth Streets. This barber reportedly completed 32 shaves in 90 minutes. Speed barbering for America's wandering poor. Cimarron County, Oklahoma. Farmer's son during Dust Bowl era. Young face weathered beyond years. Dirt and drought surrounding him. Childhood stolen by failed harvests and relentless wind. Choctaw Nation men around American Civil War time. Traditional clothing worn during conflict. Indigenous people caught between Union and Confederate forces. Their war within the war. Mahalia, 114 years old, 1912. Native American centenarian from Washington State. Photographed by Pickett Photo Company. Face carved by more than a century of survival. Living memory spanning generations. Imagine the changes this woman witnessed in her lifetime. Chesterfield Inlet, Nunavut, 1940. Inuit family portrait photographed by Constance Beatty. Arctic life, resourcefulness, resilience visible. Generations bound by tradition and extreme environment. Brisbane, Australia. Benvenuti family, originally from Italy, migrated from London in 1871. Antonio on violin with sons Luigi on bass, Victor at piano, Italo on flute. 3 generations contributing to Brisbane's musical culture. June 8, 1955. Princess Sibylla of Sweden and Finnish President J.K. Paasikivi at dinner. Formal diplomacy through shared meal. Nordic nations strengthening bonds through ceremony. Small school classroom, possibly Gananoque. Photographed November 23, 1905. Rows of desks, young students. Education before electricity reached rural schools. Knowledge transferred by chalkboard and discipline. Camp Funston, Fort Riley, Kansas, 1918. Spanish flu pandemic. Emergency hospital ward, filled with beds, each occupied. Soldiers surviving war only to face invisible enemy. Virus that killed more than Great War itself. William Smith, 8th Kentucky Volunteers. Photographed spring of 1864 shortly after release from Belle Isle Prison. Captured at Chickamauga. His emaciated frame tells the story of months in Confederate captivity. Bones visible beneath stretched skin. He survived the war, carrying this ordeal in his body forever. Weimar, Germany. Senator Alban Barkley of Kentucky, Congressional Committee member investigating Nazi atrocities. views evidence firsthand at Buchenwald. American lawmaker confronting what words cannot convey. The distance between Washington politics and this hell measured in shocked silence. Buchenwald concentration camp, Weimar. Bones of anti-Nazi German women remain in crematorium ovens. Third United States Army photograph, April 14, 1945. Prisoners of all nationalities tortured and murdered here. The ovens still holding their final victims when liberators arrived. Ebensee concentration camp, subcamp of Mauthausen-Gusen. Half-starved prisoners photographed after liberation. Men reduced to skeletal figures, eyes enormous in shrunken faces. Starvation used as weapon. Slow death through calculated deprivation. Bergen-Belsen, April 1945. Camp Dr. Fritz Klein standing in mass grave. Born in Austro-Hungary. Early Nazi Party member. Joined SS in 43. Worked Auschwitz-Birkenau from December 43. Assisted selections for gas chambers. Moved to Belsen January 45. Convicted of war crimes. Executed December 45. Photographed among the corpses he helped create. Some perpetrators faced justice. Most did not. Liberated Auschwitz. Jewish children filmed by Soviet cinematographer Alexander Vorontsov, January 28, 1945. Young faces marked by incomprehensible trauma. Childhood stolen, families murdered. Survivors too young to process what they witnessed. Epinal area, France, January 12, 1945. Ground frozen so solid ordinary picks shatter. Compressed air jackhammer pressed into service digging graves. Winter earth refusing to accept more bodies. Machinery required to bury the war's dead. The winter of 44 to 45 was exceptionally brutal. Liberated concentration camp, May 1945. Former prisoners in bunk beds immediately after freedom arrives. Skeletal figures still lying where they were found. Too weak to leave the wooden platforms where they nearly died. Liberation meaning survival, not yet strength to stand. These photographs document what humans do to each other. We remember so it doesn't repeat. History Unveiled preserves what must never be forgotten.